Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. We have a big agenda, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a quorum. Can we forego the roll call, or would you like us to do the roll call? Okay. Dave Kensinger.
Earl Madone.
Richard Burke.
Otis Marsh.
And Chris, has he joined us online yet?
There, Chris?
Okay, the chair, Chris Fry, is gone, so I'm going to be running the meeting under duress today. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion for approval of the previous meeting minutes?
I so move.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, do I have a approval of the agenda for the current meeting? Chris, did I hear you join us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We're going to turn you up.
Okay, can you hear us still? Chris?
Yes, I can hear you.
Keep talking, would you?
I can hear you, yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, now we can hear you. Can everybody hear Chris all right out there? Okay. Okay, Chris, we're looking for approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
Hi.
Okay. Okay, as you guys can probably see, we have quite a few public hearings. Yes,
Could we open once for all of them and close at the end of all of them?
is that okay with the rest of the commissioners?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, do we have a motion to open up the public hearings? I believe, I didn't count how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 public hearings.
Approved, or move be open.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, so we've now opened the public hearings. The first one that we have is a public hearing for a request from Brandon Fletcher for a variance for the 10-foot side yard setback at 500 Hagen Drive for the purpose of enclosing an existing carport. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to that? Okay. The next one is number B, a public hearing for an application from Marcus Horn for a conditional use permit to operate a home occupation at 1309 Joa Street. Do we have anybody here that would like to speak for that? Paul, by the way. Paul, okay, sorry.
First thing that,
This is your opportunity to give any input on whether you are for this, against it, or if it is your permit to say, tell the commission why you want to do it. Would you like to come up and so everybody can hear us? Yeah, so everybody, if you want to say, if you're the person applying for the permit, you want to speak towards it, or if you're somebody that's opposing the permit, please come up here so we can hear you and get you on the record. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Andy Payne, and I'm Marcus's next door neighbor, and I am not for his request. His driveway is right on my deck, and I hear traffic, and I'm afraid I'm going to hear more traffic all the time. I feel when I come home, it should be a home, not a business. We have kids that play up and down on the street. We have a playground at the end of our street. I'm just not looking forward to more traffic for sales of guns, what he's selling. So that's my concern, is because it's right on my back deck, right there.
Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I ask a question of her?
Well, no,
Okay,
first go ahead and state your name.
So my name is Marcus Hom. I'm the one applying for the permit.
Okay, thank you.
My driveway, she said, right on her back deck. My driveway is within our setbacks and everything like that, so I just wanted to have that be clear. But it is on her back deck side, so I understand how traffic would be an issue. As I stated in my application, the amount of traffic that I'm going to have through there isn't any higher than what would be normal in the neighborhood for regular social activities. So I don't really specialize in in-town sales. My big thing is internet sales. And then in-town is just going to be things like, primers or ammunition occasionally. And
Yeah, wait, let's not have a give and take from the floor up to whoever's talking. You can have a chance to talk again if you'd like. Go ahead.
Right. So, and then the people that are going to be frequenting the place are usually my friends anyways, who would come over, just to talk firearms or whatever. So really, I don't see a large influx of traffic additionally to what anybody else in the neighborhood have just for social reasons. The other part of that, I know with the other permit that was applied for in our neighborhood, parking was a concern, and I have enough parking in my driveway that on-street parking won't be an issue. Anybody that comes over will have room enough to pull into my driveway, so I won't be impeding traffic flow or having problems with like the kids playing in the street or whatever, pushing them further into the street by having cars parked on the edge. So
Okay.
that's how I'd like to address those two issues. Unless there's any other questions from you guys or other issues from the floor that I should address.
Are you going to be stocking firearms at your place?
Yes, that's correct. And I already have my federal firearms license, so I can, I have the appropriate federal permits to sell firearms legally as a business versus, just as a private individual.
Any other questions?
I don't.
Chris? Chris, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Would you like to? Yes, Joe.
Liz has got something, but I got a quick question too, Marcus. On your schematic and showing up here, it doesn't show how much area of the house you're dedicating to this business.
Okay, so I thought I had it drawn in there. It's a home office size thing, so it's about maybe 15 by 20 or 15 by 15.
Is that
It's-
what it says office here? Is that where the
Yep,
business?
that's correct. Yep,
That's where
so the actual area that would be used for business, of course, would be parking in the driveway, traffic through to the office, and that's it, so.
I'm more concerned exactly, the business is going to be based out of that office.
That's correct.
Your inventory will be in that office.
That's correct.
Or paperwork, all that, and whatever, ammo or whatever.
Yep.
So it's limited to a 15 by,
That one space, yep.
15 by 20 approximately,
Yeah, approximately.
less than 500 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay.
I have another question. You're not planning on having employees, or?
That's correct. I'm not planning on employing anyone. Like I said, I'm not planning on doing that much, like, retail storefront business. It's more so a convenience for the people that are interested in shooting. They want to be able to come over and pick up a bipod or ammunition or something like that. Things that aren't necessarily stocked downtown. I might be able to have that for them. So it's a convenience here in town, and then the business side of things is really, like I said, doing rifle packages, which are getting mailed to places like Colorado. So that's the structure of the business, I guess.
Liz?
Oh, do you want, we have a couple of comments that we received. And
Yeah, I was
want
gonna
those
read
read into
those.
the record? Or
Sure. You want me to read those?
up to you. You
I
do-
can.
do it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to read
If
those
you're- if
before
you-
you're done.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Would you like to? Okay. Yeah, because, you got to talk to the microphone, so,
Record is from the
Yeah.
microphone.
yeah, sorry.
Well, I just feel after hearing what he said is that there will be traffic coming in and out of his house for people to get supplies and everything. And like I say, it is on my back porch, and I will hear it. I hear traffic from my bedroom. I mean, they're just that close. It's just how it is. I'm sure he can hear on my side too. And so that is a big concern to me, is the more, it's just going to be more than it is today. And I would rather not have that. I'd rather be able to have a nice, quiet area to go home to. And it concerns me to have guns, that many. I don't know what he's going to keep in stock or what, but we have, theft and things going on throughout the town, and guns are something people take seriously, so
Okay, thank you. And,
Can I ask another question?
yeah,
What kind of hours are you going to have?
I had it posted on my application, I think, but basically the hours are, once again, just the same hours that anybody else would have, friends over to watch football or anything like that. So it's kind of a on-schedule thing. If a guy calls me up and says, hey, Marcus, can I swing by to pick up some ammunition? I'm going to go out shooting tomorrow. Yeah. And so that's really kind of how it goes. And once again, like I'm saying, as far as traffic goes, I'm not a particularly social guy. I don't have like house parties or anything like that. So as far as traffic goes, I wouldn't say that it's any more than that of just a regular social house where they have friends coming in, stopping in and leaving and whatever. So that's kind of my stance on how much traffic flow would be coming through there.
any more questions? Okay, thanks.
Should I respond to any of these comments that Liz is going to read, or?
I'm gonna read them.
Oh, okay, that you're going to read.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read them. Okay, we have two letters. One was from Roxanne Stafford. I don't think I can make the meeting, but I want to comment on the application for Marcus to have a small business in his home. It looks like it will be similar to the one you gave my next door neighbor, Greg Townsend. I'd like to see the stipulation of no signs or advertising around his home pertaining to his business, and no on-street parking. Also applied as conditions to this permit, similar to the previous issued permit. He has a very large driveway, so I do not see that as a problem. I have no objections to a small-scale business of ordering guns from his house as long as it is discreet. And then we have another letter from Julie Sheldon. I think this will not be good for my neighborhood. The retail gun sale business will be close to a playground, ballpark, and many young children. The traffic in the neighborhood is low now, but with this business, it could increase, which is a concern since so many young kids ride their bikes on the roads in my neighborhood. Recently, somebody on Joa had someone trying to break into their home. That's, I believe, all we have.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, you bet.
Abbott, I talked to him on the street, I don't know, a week ago or so. And he was very concerned, didn't want this business next to him. He says, I got a gun salesman across the street and one next to me. He says, that's too much.
Okay, so just to comment to that really quick. From what I've heard, Greg Townsend has stopped selling firearms, so I don't think he'll be running his business there, so there will be just one in the neighborhood. And I know that firearms in general are kind of a divisive topic, so it's true.
Yes.
And I would like, or I'd appreciate it if people would address it as simply a business. In my personal opinion, firearms are very similar to like a vehicle where if they're used irresponsibly, yes, they can cause harm to an individual, but it's actually my discretion as a federal firearms licensee of who I sell to and who I don't sell to. So even if somebody were to pass a background check, I don't have to sell them a firearm. So as far as making sure that the individuals that I'm seeing face to face and the people that I'm choosing to let into my house are going to be safe individuals with firearms, I guess I'd like that to be noted. So it shouldn't be as much of a concern of public safety.
Okay, I got one more
Yeah.
comment here. I see in here your hours are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
It sounded like maybe your hours were going to be longer than that.
Like I said, every now and then I'll have a friend that'll stop by. But if that's one of the stipulations, I can say, look, I can't sell you ammunition or whatever. I won't operate a business outside of those hours, so I won't collect any funds. I won't do anything on the business side of things. But unless there's a curfew in the neighborhood as far as nobody can have any visitors at a certain hour, I don't see why I couldn't have, a friend stop by and talk about firearms or whatever. That's, different than operating the business. So I'm happy if 9 to 6 is a stipulation for business hours. That's okay with me.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, that's the staff recommendation because that's the conditions that you put on Mr. Townsend's permit. That's not
Oh, okay.
Marcus's application, just to clarify that.
Okay?
All right, yeah, so
Yeah, thank you.
unless there are any other questions.
Okay. Okay, and the way this works, we have, it's open for a public hearing right now, and then once we go through all the public hearings, then we'll take each item that was up for public hearing, and then the commission will make its decision. So you might want to stick around for that part if we have any more questions. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, yes, Chris?
I had a question for him concerning the number of customers he expects per day on average.
An average per day would be less than one per customer, or one customer per day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say a busy week would probably be maybe 5 people stopping in. Like I said, it's not, the business is not based on sales as a retail storefront to local people. There's only 3,000 people in town, so that's not really a good business model. What I'm doing is trying to sell higher-end packages over the internet to people. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, without any other objections or comments or questions from the commission, we'll move to an application from Thomas Greenlee.
And there he is.
And there he is. Okay, great.
Come on up.
Perfect. Just let everybody know who you are and all that stuff.
I'm Tom Greenlee, property at 106 Koenigs Lane.
Good enough.
I was going to add, but I got.
Oh, you can add.
That's all you asked for.
Yeah. Do you want to describe what you're doing?
Well, I have an acre and a half of property right off the end of Koenigs Lane. Of the property line, there's a 7-foot deep ditch with a real small creek in it. And I want to fill that, put a culvert in there, appropriate size culvert, and fill the ditch so I can access my property. And there's utilities and stuff, not 50 feet away or so. They all can be installed at some point. So I plan to do a home site. I had a site plan, but Rick Braun hasn't sent it to me yet, so but I may not need that.
No. Okay. Okay, sounds simple enough. Any questions?
No.
Yes.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward? Okay.
There is a tree that the neighbors want down. It's a big spruce. Actually, 2 trees. One's right on the property line, and one's in the right of way, and everybody wants it down but me. But I'll take it down.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't get any comments.
We had one neighbor call, but they were holding the map upside down. So I think once we got them oriented, it was fine.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next public hearing is for an application from Brandy Tinas for a conditional use permit for home occupation at 1017 Valkyrie Street. She's not here? Okay. Any comments? Okay, with no objections, we'll move on to the next one. I see Rose is here. Public hearing for application from Rose Dunham for a special use permit install fill on the undeveloped portion of Baranoff Street, ROW to provide access to the backyard of 223 South Nordic Drive. Rose?
I'm Rose Dunham. I just wanted to apply for a special use permit so that I could have access, guaranteed access to my property. The front part of my property, which is on Nordic Avenue, has a small driveway, but my property is higher than the road, and so if I want to, there's no way for me to get to the back of my property from Nordic Avenue. So there's a right-of-way. I purchased I vacated the right-of-way for Baranoff Street behind my house, like in 1995. And so that road just stops right there. So Baranoff, there's a little 45-foot piece that's behind Vivian and Stan Yort's property. And I have a fence and a gate, and I'd like to be able to have access to the back of my property. At some point, I may build a garage. I've been wanting to do that for 15 years, and it hasn't happened yet, but I still may want to do that. So it's just to secure access. As far as putting fill in, all I want to do is maintain it. I'm not going to go in and dump a dump truck load full of rock on that right-of-way. There's already rock there, and mostly it would be just to fill in the holes. After measuring it today, there's some trees on the right-of-way. I may need to take out one. That's all I want to do, is be able to maintain it for access purposes.
Thank you. Any questions? Chris? Okay. Okay. With no objections from the commission, we'll move on to the next item.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Stan.
I was concerned about this property in question when they put fill in there before, when they vacated their property, they put fill on this area in question, and whenever it rains, it floods the back of the house that we have, because it's water runs downhill, everybody knows. And if she puts more fill in there, and I know there's a hole, but when you fill that hole up, all the water, and you can get through there with a car, but if you fill the hole up with rock, it's all going in my backyard. And although she did not desire in writing to have that access, that property as a driveway exclusively, I'm trying to keep it open. We've all shared it in the neighborhood, the Tates, myself, the Baileys, and Rose, as I'd like to see it kept as it is, vacated and open for the 4 neighbor families to share. And I am concerned that if she starts using it exclusively, she'll figure it's exclusively hers, although she isn't put in for a vacation in her name, however that works. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about getting flooded out if there's more rock put in there, and I'm just trying to secure that open space as a, if you will, neighborhood extra parking space. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I got a question. Is there a way to fix that drainage? Culvert or something?
Not really. Not unless you're going to dig all the way down to the road, and I don't know where you're going to put it then. My dad dug it, I wasn't here, I was in Alabama on the ship, but he dug a drain field and put it in down to behind the bulkhead wall, and there's sand underneath there, but That's all they know. But then when it rains, there's that much water in the backyard. And I think there's water in Rose's backyard too. But it would take quite a bit of expense or labor, one way or the other. Hours, whatever, maybe even equipment.
Okay. Thank you, Stan. Thank you. Oh, you got somebody else right behind you, or?
Okay, yeah, Dan. I'll just stand aside.
Yeah, just state your name so I don't get yelled at.
Good afternoon, I'm Dan Tate. I live at 301 Baranoff. My property is on the right-of-way as well. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed in the quality of the application. I wasn't exactly sure what Ms. Dunham was looking to do. I understand that she wants to fill in some holes. I guess I'd like to see a little bit more information as to how far that's going to go. It was also stated that the neighbors in the area do use that right away. I am one of those. My boat tent is right off that, and I need to use it to get in and out. On occasion, I have had difficulty because cars being parked there, but we have all been friendly neighbors, and we've been able to work it out quite amicably, no problems. I'd like to see it continue like that it always stays a right-of-way that anyone can access at this point. And I would like to finally say that I do believe Rose should have access to her backyard. I'm not against that in any manner, shape, or form. Like I said, we all like to be able to access our property off that thing, and Rose should do it as well. And again, I'd just like to see some more information as how that fill is going to be laid out and if it would affect my property in any way. I'm not sure at this point because the information's not there.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm one of the Baileys.
Okay.
And that is a very tight corner there in the back. And with our boats and trailers and that, we sometimes need to back up and try to get around that corner. So we do need to use that little right-of-way back in there. So it's just something we've used the past 11 years. So I just wanted to, I don't know how big of an area or if it's exclusive. I don't quite know how that's going to be worded, but we do use that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Sure. If this right-of-way went through, would that mean that somebody would be parked there and be in your way?
If they had exclusivity to it, yeah. I mean, that would be in our way to make that corner to back some of our trailers through.
Okay, I assumed that would be a roadway that would be open.
Yeah, Liz?
Yeah, a special use permit is not going to change the nature of the public access to that road. So part of the special use permit will say that you can't block public access to the right-of-way. So it doesn't give the person any right to do things except to pay to maintain it, basically, as an access to their property. So all we're saying is we acknowledge that you're going to put rock down and maintain that access point to your property, but you can't block anybody else from using it. So.
We wouldn't park there, we just use it sometimes
Right.
to have to make the corner.
Thank you. Rose?
I just want to say that when I called and talked to the city, Liz, we talked about the different things that we could do, and I did not want to purchase or attempt to purchase that right-of-way outright, because I know that there are a number of the neighbors that use it. All of my neighbors have at least 3 cars and a boat plus. And so, yeah, there's a lot of activity in a very small area. I'm not trying to be a bad neighbor. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to maintain access to my property, and I just want to be able to maintain the road. That's all, and that it will always be free to my property, which is, of course, another concern. I'm not going to block it.
Any questions?
Not yet.
Chris? Okay. Anybody else want to speak to this, to Rose's? Okay. Okay, the next item is a public hearing for an application from Stephanie Tinas for a conditional use permit for a home occupation at 1100 Wrangell Avenue. Okay? I don't see her here, so anybody care to speak to that? All right. The next application is a public hearing for an application from Glenn Reed Jr. for a variance from the front setback requirements at 250 Metcalf Highway. Glenn?
Hey, good afternoon, Glenn Reed Jr. I guess my comment is, does the board have any questions? When you get into new business, you'll be asking questions of a permit holder, won't you? I mean,
We could, but we could ask him now.
I went out there and looked at it, and this is on the, well, you've got the garage up above, and the house down below, and this roof is coming off the house, right?
it's coming off that additional bedrooms that are sticking out there.
It's not up above the garage. It's down below.
No, it's down below. It's actually, and it shows up in the pictures there, it is 11 feet below the pavement to the foundation bottoms, so.
It looks like pretty much where you got
You know,
the tar.
and with a 412 pitch, it'll be up that wall, I think, 10 feet. The top of the run will be right at
I'm just making sure.
No,
I'm looking at it the way you're looking at it.
Yeah. And I think if you look at the application, you'll see that the location of it is 100 feet from the north property boundary and 105 feet from the south property boundary, and that's actually the south end of it and the north end of it. You know, it's like 28 feet long along that building.
This picture here is where the roof goes. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And I'm looking for volunteers to come out and help me saw up that stump.
I was going to ask you about that.
Well, when
It's
we
like
built,
in the way.
when I built that addition in '91, you know, we kind of cut around some of the roots there, and I don't feel I want to try ripping it out. It's really close to some of those foundation piers I've got under there, and what I did on one of the other ones is I just kept chopping it down, chopping it down till it was buriable. So.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, the next item is a public hearing for an application from Brian Whitney for a conditional use permit for use of a trailer during construction at 202 South Frederick Drive.
I got an old chain on my saw. I might be able to. I got 2.5 acres out Frederick Point. I've submitted a building permit for a permanent house out there. I'm going to work out the details with Joe. In the meantime, I want to live on the property while I build it. I want to set my mill up and work on it and try to build it myself, and I want to be there. You know, it gets inclement weather. There's nothing better than being on the site, and I'm kind of chomping at the bit to get my place built. And I want to, do what I want to put my own sweat equity into it and build my own house and try to get this thing done in a reasonably fast time. I want to submit for this permit to be able to live right there, and I don't want to, it's temporary, it's on wheels, and I want to get my house built.
Any questions?
Where would that trailer, you've got a container there, don't you?
Yeah.
Would it be up, where would the trailer be parked?
I live in that, I made that trailer in my Connex. I had it in Hoona, and I brought it here. I live in it. I kind of got a bed in there, and, you know, I've made it like a trailer. I just didn't really intend on buying an additional trailer. I just kind of wanted to, I made it all self-contained, and
That's where you're going to live, in other words.
yeah, well, yeah, I'm going to stay there till I get my house built.
So that's the container that's already out there?
Yeah,
Okay.
and
You don't plan on putting an additional trailer out there?
No, I just, it's on wheels, and, you know, I want to live there and not have to drive through the snow or whatever. Of course, with global warming, I probably don't have to worry about that. They plow it anyway, but.
Yeah, well, it just, the question came up, there already is another trailer up there.
There is another trailer out there?
2 trailers up there now, yes.
Okay.
So somebody asked, was it you? You don't intend on putting another trailer? So there already is 2 trailers up there.
Well, I have one for my building materials. You know, I want to try to keep some things dry, my chop saw, my table saw. I'd like a little bit of heat and air so my paint, or, you know, paint and stuff like that don't freeze. You know, it just, coverage is everything. You know, and you know, if I think about, you know, I'm a plumber, my busy time is this time of year. So when I look at, well, when am I going to actually have a lot of time to really apply? It's kind of when the weather's bad, and then that's nice being right there. You know, I can work on it there, and coverage, you know, is a lot. It rains here, it's a rainforest, and I'm just trying to use what I have to speed things up so I can get my house built.
Do we have any of the neighbors? There's no neighbors out there, are there?
Actually, we have one comment.
Okay.
Bruce Cady, who lives on the, next to the creek there, Hobo Creek.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't come to the meeting, but I jotted down
You want to
what he told me.
illuminate us?
Sure, happy to. Basically, he says he doesn't want to see the character of single-family change, and he thought that the area should remain in keeping with the spirit of what the state had originally subdivided there, which was single-family residential. He's noted that there's been what appears to be stockpiling of product for commercial operation, and he doesn't think that's appropriate. He expressed concern about the stream that runs downhill near the property. And he also suggested to the commission that not to feel bullied about or fear a lawsuit, that the law is on your side.
Okay.
There you go.
Can I ask a question of you guys? I mean, when we can do this in the next phase. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I guess my only question would be, you're just planning on using this as a single-family dwelling, right? That's where you're going to live at?
I need a house, yeah.
Okay. You're not building this to be like a commercial piece of property for storage of, okay, thank you.
If that becomes a problem, we can address that. You know, I had that one Connex. It had some plumbing materials in it. I had some ABS pipe, you know. That might be what they're concerned about. If I need to get rid of some of that stuff, I don't have a problem with it. I didn't really see, you know, if there's things like that I need to kind of have out of sight, out of mind, or whatever, I'll ship it out.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions? Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, the last item is a public hearing for an application to purchase borough property from Suzanne Paulson and James C. Jensen at 705 North 4th Street. Sue?
4th Street?
Yeah, it says North 705 North 4th Street. Is that incorrect?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say,
That's the address, but.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm Sue Paulson, and my brother and I own our old family home at 718 Wrangell Avenue. And when our parents built that home, 1951, it was all on the property they owned. We have realized that they built other things as time went by. The garage expanded, and now it's on borough property. The dining room was expanded, and it's touching borough property. The sauna was built, and it's on borough property. And so we thought that it would behoove us to ask if we could buy these lots right here, number 6, 7, and 8 in Block 76. And that way, in future, should the time come when we decide to sell this house, we could say to a prospective buyer, yes, you can buy the buildings and the land at the same time. We have no plans to develop any of this land. We are not going to build anything. We're just maintaining the situation. Can I answer a question?
I think, yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Any other, okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, it looks like we have come to that portion where we can close the public hearings. Do I have a motion to close the public hearings?
I so move.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Public hearings are now closed. Now we have a section for visitors' views related to agenda items. Now's your chance to speak up. Visitors' views unrelated to agenda items. Okay. Liz, report of staff members, or Joe, or both.
Nothing new from the Department of Transportation. I'll just say that.
Oh, you mean the airport?
Yeah.
They don't want to trade?
I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
There's just no report. Well, that
There's
doesn't
just
surprise me.
No information.
Okay. Joe?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, all right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back down through the agenda, and we're going to discuss all of the items that we had open for public hearings earlier. Okay? This is primarily the opportunity for the staff and for the commission to discuss these items, and if we have any questions, then we'll ask you to come up and speak again. But kind of your time to free flow and say what you want to say is kind of over right now, unless we need some input. Okay. The first item is consideration of an application from Brandon Fletcher for a variance for the 10-foot side yard setback at 500 Haugen Drive.
Sounds like he's just trying to enclose that existing carport.
Right.
Do we need a motion for discussion?
Yes, we do, actually.
So I'll move that we grant the variance.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Staff? That's you, Joe. Any issues?
Said carport to be garage was granted a variance in, what year?
2001.
2001. He got a variance to already put the carport that close to the property line. Now he wants to enclose it in, post to post, not increasing the footprint at all. And the only reason, it's kind of up here is that in that minutes, I look back in the minutes of that meeting, the commission made a recommendation that if, in the future, that was ever to be enclosed, you'd have to get a variance. It's kind of like adding a variance to a variance. So first the variance was for a carport, now it's for a garage, but the distance hasn't changed, so.
Okay. Okay. All in favor of granting this variance?
Let's talk about it a little.
Okay, sorry.
How far would that wall be from the neighbor's property?
It's 4.6 feet. That's actually where the post is put in the ground, and that's going to be the edge of the exterior wall.
Could you come up here so we can hear? I'm getting the evil eye from
word, don't I know that?
It's 4.6 feet from.
Okay, and then the roof will hang a foot or two or three beyond that, right?
Yep, it's already, the footprint of the property isn't going to change. Nothing about the square footage is going to change. I just want a safe place to put my belongings. You know, my tools, and I have a Harley that I'd like to not see rust away, and just to get things out of the weather and secure them. It, even without walls, it does have a roof, but if you're out there ever, the wind howls through there like there's no tomorrow. There's dust all over everything. You could dust it every day and come back the next day and be covered in dust. And I just want a place to store my things out of the weather securely.
I guess the only thing that's bothering me here is that a few years back, the fire marshal came here and he said those setbacks need to be there for fire. And I'm wondering how far that is away from the next house. I didn't look at it that close, but.
I do not know the exact distance, but we can do whatever.
Approximately 20 feet?
We can do whatever needs to be done as far as double sheetrock in the exterior walls, no windows.
Well, he was concerned about access to the backyard.
There's a 10-foot, at least 10-foot clearance on the other side by 5th Street, and there's 20 all the way around the back.
Isn't there that park behind
Yes.
your property as well?
Yes, that's diagonal from my property.
The only thing I would want to ask a question about, if he's already got a carport there, that's not going to limit the access unless you're going to change the roof line.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not going to change anything except he's going to enclose it. So, I mean, I could see the issue if he was actually, going to build a structure again. But since he's already granted the variance and now he's always wants to do is just close it in, I don't see the.
I would guess that the reason he got the variance before was because he wasn't closing it in, though, is the.
Oh, I see, right. Joe, were you around
I
then?
never read that in the minutes. The only thing I read is that if he did enclose it, and in answer to his questions on proximity to the property line, he would have to sheetrock that wall because he's less than 5 feet. So that's a given, that there will be a layer of 5/8 sheetrock on the underside of whatever he puts on for cladding later.
Right.
The distance to the next house is a ways, and obviously without a variance, that's still 10 foot at least there, if not more. So you'd have to grant a variance for somebody, the neighbors, to come closer to get that distance in. But there still is 5 feet there, and basically.
Well, the fire marshal was talking 30 feet.
Yeah, with fire marshal, like 50 feet if he could get it.
True.
But yeah, that's just the story of it. There is that it will be sheetrocked, and it will be. It is said distance at the present time, still closer than 10 feet, but.
The other concern is, I don't know if it's a problem with snow going on your neighbor's property, which it probably will.
No, that's been there for a number of years, and I spoke with my neighbor about it, and he's never had a single problem.
Good.
Yeah, the roof line's not going to change, Otis. The roof's there, and it's been for 15.
That's all going to be there. All there is a wall to keep the wind from blowing through.
How close is the edge of that roof to the property line?
It is just under 4 feet.
Is where the wall is, but the edge of the roof.
Yeah, it only overhangs about 8 inches.
Oh, about 8 inches. Okay. About 4 feet. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve this variance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the next item is consideration of an application from Marcus for a conditional use permit to operate a home occupation at 1309 Joa Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Second it?
Second.
Okay. Okay, discussion?
I spoke with Devin Bennett. He lives 2 houses down from Marcus. He was in favor of this application, even though he never sent an email or anything.
Okay.
And I know Marcus has 2 young children, and so I'm not. And he's very responsible, so I'm not concerned with him locking up the weapons. I'm fairly confident he will.
Chris? Chris, do you have any comments or questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Harold, I see you're thinking.
Well, I grew up in a house full of guns. Never got any holes shot in myself or anything, and hope I never do. And I don't think there's anything objectionable about a gun-related business like this. As far as the traffic goes, I guess my question would be, if we grant this and traffic becomes a problem, then what are we going to do about it?
We can review it again in 2 years, like we did on the other one.
Is that okay?
We could even do it in 1 year, probably.
We can.
I would suggest that we do, that if we do grant this, that we do, that's within our purview to do a 1 year and then come back to it, see if there's any issues in the year. Is that?
And we can also make it sunset if he ever sells the property.
Right.
So just for your information, on page 25 is the list of conditions that you put on Mr. Townsend's permit. Here or not, or similar or not. You can reference your fine work from before.
One of the conditions here says no on-site ammunition sales.
That is a condition that you put on Mr. Townsend.
Yeah. In this case, I believe we'd have to take that out if it was going to do him any good.
I would sure appreciate it.
I guess the only reason I'm against this, or sort of against it anyway, is that I've talked to 2 people that don't want it, that are neighbors. Other than that, I'm for it.
I personally don't have any issue per se. I just have an overall issue with the granting of a conditional use permits period in residential areas. So that's my bias on this. I mean, you know, I know people are going to have businesses in their homes. I just know personally, and that this is not an issue we can take up because we have to follow the ordinance. I guess I'd just like to alert maybe the counselor or the assembly person in the room that might be opportunity or time to revisit these the specific ordinance on.
I do feel that we need to make sure that whatever we do on this, that it sunsets with the owner, not continues on with the property like we've done in the past on a few of these.
Right. So does everybody understand what Chris is saying? If we grant a variance, in the past, the variances have gone forever with a piece of property. And so now what we're talking about doing is if we grant it.
F.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's in there, Chris.
I would like to change that to 1 year instead of 2.
Okay.
Can you do that?
What was that? I'm sorry.
One year that we
1 year
review
instead
it instead of 2.
Okay, are there any other amendments?
I don't know if you've seen these amendments here.
Can I look at them? A through G. The other thing I would just like to ask is what would be a reasonable number of vehicles, say, per week? And I'm happy to accommodate with that, based off of like looking at what, the regular traffic flow would be for just anybody else's house. That would be kind of something that I'd like to see at that 1 year point versus something that might be a little biased as far as, oh, it's gone up or it's gone down. I'd actually like to hear, oh, hey, you know what? He averaged 3 cars stopping in per day, and that became a traffic issue. So that way I can kind of have a target of, oh, hey, this isn't a problem because I'm only having 5 people per week, and I'm keeping the traffic flow well under any issue. So, I'd like to accommodate as much as possible with that. So if I know kind of what a good number would be, I can work around that.
Joe?
Well, it'd be pretty hard to A, enforce, B, quantify unless we've got video camera on your driveway. I'm not going to sit there and count cars all week unless the borough wants to pay me for that. Yeah, but, it's going to come down to, just if it gets out of hand, I'm sure we'll hear about it, but I can't. And just so you two know, the commission, that anything you put on here has to be something I can enforce or see. I can't see 3 vehicles a week, 5 vehicles a week, 10 vehicles a week.
That's my problem with the ordinance to start with, but whatever. I think that's why we're putting a 1 year review on it, so that if there is an issue and your neighbors come and complain to Joe, then we can address it at that time.
Certainly.
I think that's what do you, am I speaking out of line for you guys?
No, you're.
Okay.
I'd be in favor of that.
Okay, so.
The only thing that I would mention still is just that condition E, where, on-site sales of ammunition, that's actually a primary part of what I'm doing. The ammunition's stored in a safe way, so that shouldn't be an issue. And as far as quantity of ammunition, and I wrote this in my proposal, I'm not keeping any large quantities of ammunition in stock, so really there's probably folks here in town that are avid reloaders that have more powder, ammunition, whatever, than I do in my business. So that might just be something to consider as far as that goes.
Harold?
Yeah, as I understand it, ammunition sales isn't even an FFL isn't required for that.
That is correct.
So a person could have a home occupation to just sell ammunition without having an FFL.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I don't think the sale of ammunition is objectionable. It's when it goes off that people complain about the noise and whatnot. So
bear that in mind.
So does anyone? We're gonna remove that from the conditions? Is that?
I hope so.
Want to make a motion?
If we're going to grant this,
yeah,
we need to take it out.
Chris? Okay, so we have 2 amendments to the motion. One would be instead of a 2-year review, a 1-year review. And we're going to remove E, which is will allow on-site ammunition sales. Is that correct? Okay. Let's call for the question then.
Question?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I want to say no. It's going to pass.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say no too.
Oh.
Okay. So I bet it still passes.
What was that?
Wait. 3-2. So we have a 3-2 on it. I'm nay. Everybody else is yay.
I think
you have to have four
I think you need
positives.
4 positives.
Okay.
But let me double check.
Hmm?
You need 4 concurrent
Okay.
votes to pass it.
4?
Yep. You want to reconsider?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we do that?
Someone on the prevailing side has to make that motion.
Move to reconsider.
Okay.
Take the vote over?
Okay. No, you can change yours.
Yeah, I'll change mine. to-
Okay. Okay, so it passes. Okay?
As modified.
Yes, as modified.
Yes.
Okay, did we do that okay? Okay.
Never done that before, huh?
No, you can reconsider, I know that. That's in Robert's rules, so.
You were close
okay.
enough. I think we understood what you're trying to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, you understood, okay. Okay, so motion passes. Okay. Okay, okay, now we have a review and recommendation of an application from Thomas Greenlee for a special use permit to install a culvert.
So
We have,
I
yes?
move we approve this.
Okay,
A second.
okay.
One of us.
Any discussion? Chris? Okay? Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chris?
Aye.
Okay, me too.
Clarification, it's just a recommendation to the assembly.
Okay. Okay, so noted. Thank you.
Under duress.
Yeah, under duress. Okay, consideration of an application from Brandy Tinas for a conditional use permit for a home occupation at 1017 Valkyrie Street. Thanks. Okay, do we have a motion?
I move we, or make a motion to approve this.
Okay,
Second.
Randy to,
okay, discussion?
There was no opposition to this at all, so.
Mr. Chairman, there are findings of fact in there for you if you want to.
Okay. And could you illuminate me where I'd find those at?
That would be page 42.
Okay, page 22, thank you.
42, 42.
42, okay.
Okay. Okay, so we have to go through the findings of fact on these one by one, or can we do them all at once?
Well, you could, if you agree with the findings of fact presented, you could make a motion and state that
Okay.
you agree with the findings of fact in the staff report and move forward. But if you want to change those, then you're welcome,
Okay.
of course, to do that.
You guys understand what Liz was telling us?
I make a motion that we approve this and include these findings of fact that are listed.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. Now we have to have a vote on that. Okay, all in favor of approving of the findings of fact?
Aye.
And rolling them in one? Okay. Okay, that passes. Okay, we have a motion on the table for this conditional use permit. Any more comments or questions? Anything else we need to do, Liz?
You can do it all at once if you want to. Next time you can do it all at once if you want.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. And I'm going to abstain out of pure orneriness. I'm making a political statement, I'm sorry.
Under duress.
Huh? Okay, Review and recommendation of an application from Rose Dunham for a special use permit to install fill on the undeveloped portion of Baranoff Street. Okay, do we have a motion?
Wait a minute.
Or did I miss one? Sorry.
What I was wondering was to install fill?
Yeah, that's what the permit is for. Is that correct, Joe?
Yeah. There's fill there
Right.
already, but it would be to maintain, as I understand it.
The existing fill.
Yeah.
And
So fill would be added.
the findings of fact with this.
I guess I would like to somehow get the drainage right here.
Or at least put in something that if she installs fill, it doesn't aggravate existing drainage problems.
Right.
Yeah, I was unaware of the drainage issues until this meeting.
I was there, walked around a little bit and looked at it. I didn't see any drainage problems, but it wasn't raining.
Yeah, I looked at it too, and I didn't notice any standing water, but
What kind of conditions can we put in here to alleviate the problem?
Joe, you're the expert here.
You had something there.
Well, there are some things.
Maybe Rose has got an idea. I don't know.
Yes.
Rose Dunham addressing the drainage issue. The entire area has a drainage issue. There's a big wall in front of our properties that basically, that the state put in when they built the highway there, and that holds back water, and then it slowly seeps out. Because when it rains, it just fills that up like a bowl. And depending on how your roof, some of the roofs around there don't have gutters on them, so they're running onto my property. I installed gutters because water is just a problem. I was not aware until Stan mentioned it that there was a drainage problem. That road has been, let's not call it a road. It's been a right-of-way. We put fill in it probably in 96 or 97. The only thing that's been done since that is a little bit of rock to fill the holes so that it's not, so that it's drivable. And I don't plan on spending a bunch of money. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't afford to put drainage ditch in a piece of property that belongs to the city. It's the city's property. It's a street. It's a right-of-way. All I want to do is have permission to have access to my property and to put a little fill in there when it's needed. But as far as culverts and that, I can't afford that. It's not my intention to create a highway back there. Right now, the road is probably about 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just an extension of the Baranoff Street. The one part I want to fill is right by the telephone pole. That gets a big, on the corner, that gets a big puddle of water in it, and that's all I want to do. Is trim a few, branches, and that's all I want to do. But if you're going to make me put in culverts and whatnot to fix the drainage problem that the neighborhood has had since inception, I'm gonna have to withdraw. I mean,
what I want you to do is not make the situation worse.
That's I think what I'm trying to say is it's whatever is done that more fill, if a substantial amount more fill gets put in that makes the situation worse, that would be acceptable. But a little bit of fill to fill in potholes shouldn't be a big issue. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
my intention is only to fill in potholes. And my main intention is to secure that as a right-of-way to my back property and maintain it. And if I have to have a city employee come out and every time I want to do something there and get permission, I'll do that. You know.
One second. Can I ask a question of Joe? Joe?
Ron pictures.
Yeah, I know.
What?
My question is, why does she even need to have a permit?
Because she's putting rock in the city right away.
Oh, because it's in the city right away.
Anytime you put anything in the city right away, you have to get a special use permit.
Okay.
Basically, the same thing Mr. Greenlee asked for.
Right. Okay.
Put rock in, but he in his situation, if he wanted to do it, he had to put a culvert because that drainage was going right through there.
I understand. Okay.
In this situation, the drainage is running perpendicular to the fill she's putting in. If anything, any fill you put in, that's what I was trying to picture, any fill you put in perpendicular to this is probably going to get stopped on the uphill side, which would be, and it has to get through this fill. But once it gets over the fill, it's in their backyards. It's not, the way I see it, I'm not a drainage expert by any means, but
the way I understand it is she does have access through this right away to her property right now. That's not the issue. So all we're talking about
they're extending it, correct?
Not even extending, just maintaining it, right?
I just want to maintain it. I just want to be sure. Actually, I would like to have it a perpetual right-of-way so I have access to my property. That's really what I want to secure, because any of the neighbors could come in and offer to vacate that piece of land. And I want to secure it as a right-of-way so I have access to my property. And I'm willing to maintain it so that happens.
So I guess my question to staff is, shouldn't we be talking about something different?
Well, I think Liz already said that just the special use permit does not grant exclusivity to her using this and saying nobody else can park there, nobody else can use it. I don't think that's what we're asking, correct? You know, you see people parked in right-of-ways, dead ends all over town, parking there, and, basically it's still the city's right-of-way, and if Carl wanted that right-of-way cleared, he'd have every right to say, I need access. And it already says there in his statements that he's going to need still to push snow that direction probably in the wintertime. That's kind of a dead end.
It's not a dead end because my property is on it.
We put in pretty standard language that we put in for everyone, saying we don't want this project to impact local drainage, which is kind of Carl's standard disclaimer language. And if you need to put a culvert in, you need to put a culvert in. But I think what ends up happening is if it gets approved, Carl goes down and works with the property owner to make sure that whatever they do makes sense. If there's an existing drainage issue and the cause of the drainage issue is somewhat unclear, is it just the way it is there, or is it because of the fill? Then that makes it a little bit more problematic to figure out if it's going to make it worse. Is it just worse because it's of something else? Is drainage happening faster so then the muskeg is subsiding and then that's causing problems in foundations? So
the drainage may be changing anyway, because I saw Seacon putting in what looked like some sort of drainage stuff at the base of those walls along Nordic. That may help alleviate some of the drainage issues when they were doing the sidewalk work.
So one thing you could, if all Rose is talking about is not making the fill any bigger and just filling in potholes, then that could be your recommendation that, yeah, they have a special use permit, but these are the things that she's allowed to do in that right away, which is fill potholes, but not make the actual area any larger.
Actually not increase the area.
Increase the size of it.
She's allowed to maintain the existing access.
Right.
And sometimes you have to fill potholes to do
And sometimes you have to fill potholes,
Right.
I'd like to be able to trim some trees too. There's trees growing in the right of way that are encroaching so that they're scratching my car now when I go back there. So I'd like to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, that's normal maintenance.
Yeah, so just normal, all I want to do is normal maintenance. That's all.
Harold?
Yeah, I think that there's very little chance of a right-of-way, say, accessing, even if it dead ends against your property, of it being vacated. I mean, I would have to come before
It would have to come
this
before
board
us.
and probably the council and that. And I know that right-of-ways have been vacated, and that, the adjacent property owners get the opportunity to buy their half of the right-of-way. But in a case where it actually accesses someone's property, I don't think there's any precedent for them disappearing. But just listening to, it sounds like there's the four of you neighbors all use this right-of-way, or to a certain extent. I don't know. It sounds to me like a good case for a local improvement district type of thing. If there's a drainage problem, and if everybody's that interested in it, to go together and develop the right of way. You can form a local improvement district, and yeah, I mean, it may be kind of far fetched, but
Yeah, there's only one piece of property that feels like the fill is going to cause a drainage problem, and that's Miss Vivian and Stan Yort's property. Their property is on the west side of that, and the other property is kind of uphill, so it just kind of stands to reason that it would.
Liz, would it be possible to ask Carl to take a look at it? Or is he taking a look at it?
He's seen the application, yeah, and he didn't have any issues. I don't know if he was aware necessarily that there was a concern about drainage. So I could have him look at it.
Could we ask him to take a look at it and see if he felt that by putting the fill in that Rose wants to do would create an issue?
So we're just talking about maintaining the existing.
Right.
Yeah, can do that.
Well, I want to approve this, but I don't want somebody to get extra water in their place either.
Well, I don't either, and that's why I thought maybe we could have Carl take a look at it, and then he could talk with Rose and find out what she wants to do, and then we could revisit it at a future meeting after we've heard back from Carl.
I'd like to just let the neighbors agree on, let them work it out.
Well, yeah, that's what I'd like to do too, but.
Think that's possible, Rose?
But
well, one thing even if we're not going to deal with this right now, I would like to have some sort of assurance for a property owner that is using a right-of-way that it's not going to just go away, that they can't access their property.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's the case without, any decision on our part. I believe that a right-of-way is not going to be extinguished, especially if it's being used.
Yes. There would be a whole other planning and zoning meeting about it.
Right. Right, so I mean, it is an existing right-of-way right now, right? And nobody's talking about taking away the right-of-way. So Rose has rights to use this and access her property, and that's not changing. Right.
Well, sort of.
Okay, I'm confused. So basically, all we're granting a permit for is to fill in some potholes.
And to trim some
The
brush.
right-of-way's been vacated, if I understand it right. She
No.
wants to put it back.
No, it's not. It's an existing
still there.
right-of-way.
The portion that was vacated is part of her property now. So a portion of Baranoff was vacated. She purchased it. It's part of her property. The part that's not vacated is the part we're talking about. So it's still an existing right-of-way that leads to her property. And we're not discussing vacating it.
That's that vacation parcel A on the map on 46.
I can show you on the map.
Yeah, I'm confused.
46.
46, that's true.
What page, 46?
46.
So here's South Nordic. Here's Stan and.
But this is Nordic, yeah, going along here.
Yeah.
This is Rose's.
Right.
And so this street used to go all the way through here. And so she vacated this part as part of her property. So all we're talking about is this little piece here, which is right away.
This wraps around the back of
Well, we're just
Stan's
trying
house.
to get her to her
Yeah,
property,
right.
I think.
Yeah, no, I took a look at it. I
Yeah,
just
so
didn't.
this exists as a right of way here. And it dead ends at her property.
Right, yeah.
So you drive like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lot that's designated 0107823, that's the,
It's in blue. There was-
that's Rose's, right?
Yep, there was a right of way that went like this.
Right.
That got vacated, and so you drive up like this and turn.
Right, okay, I got
Yeah.
it, okay.
You got it?
So then that adjacent lot, that's the Sarf place?
Yeah.
Is that right? And that's had a right-of-way vacated
Also,
across it
right,
too?
yeah.
Okay, at the
Got it.
same time.
Okay.
So this one is
Yeah, and so what Rose wants to be able to do is access her uplands part there, right? I got it. Okay. Stan, can I ask a question? Would you be okay if Carl took a look at this and see if he could see some way to mitigate the drainage problem if we grant this permit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay? Does that work for the commission?
Then we'll bring it up.
Well, I think we can grant it right now, but we'll have Carl take a look and see if he's got any ideas on if something can be done or can't be done. Does that work? Or should we have him take a look at it and then come back?
It still has to go to the assembly, so
Okay.
if you want to
Let's approve it.
recommend it with.
Carl's
With Carl's.
Recommended with recommendations from Carl.
Okay.
The additional recommendation.
Okay, that work okay for you, Stan? All right. Rose? Okay. Okay.
Question.
Let's call a question. Everybody know what we're voting on? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, the next one is consideration of an application for Stephanie Tinas for conditional use permit, home occupation, 1100 Wrangell Avenue. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept this proposal from Stephanie Tinas.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? And what is the exact page? We got so many,
56 and 57
56, okay,
is
thank you.
the findings of fact.
okay, is everybody okay with rolling all these together, the findings of fact? Will we make the motion? Or will we make the vote?
Sounds good to me.
57.
Isn't it on 56?
57 on mine, maybe.
Mr. Chairman, I just noticed that the language in B on 57 is incorrect. It's for a different conditional use permit. So there actually were no concerns expressed about traffic or on or off street. But we'll adjust that before we sign off on it.
You have it.
What did I do?
57 than I do.
Well, I grabbed one when I was sitting here.
Yeah, that's a different 57 than that 57. It matches yours.
Well, this one is, this is 56.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 57. 57 and 58 on mine, guys.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Couple
When's one this wrong?
Having printing issues at the time.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing, but
So we have no issue with parking at
Right.
this site.
So what you're saying is B is incorrect?
He is incorrect.
Okay, thank you.
So you will strike that,
I will
and
strike
we can
that.
just, yeah.
Okay.
Exits, entrances.
Okay, we're talking different pages. I don't see
Yeah.
a B, though.
On 50,
I got 1, 2, 3.
Try 58.
or 57, depending on what packet you've got. The exits, entrances.
This is the one we're using then?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, are we literally all on the same page?
They just have different numbers.
Okay, is there any discussion? Chris? Okay. I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chris?
Aye.
I'm abstaining out of ordering this again.
Abstain?
Yes. I told you guys. Okay, sorry.
Row 1.
Okay. The next item is consideration of an application for Glenn Reed Jr. for a variance from the front setback requirements at 250 McCoff Highway.
Findings of fact, recommendation.
Move we grant the variance.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Discussion?
I totally see why he wants to do this, and I think it'll look a lot better than what is currently existing there.
Okay. Joe, do you have any illumination? No? Any issues?
Hear any?
Okay.
No, it's just,
Okay.
the elevations there, if you go down and
Yeah.
look at it from the road, the only thing you'll see from the road is the top of the roof.
Right.
Like it's in the kind of the,
Okay.
That's going to look a lot better than the tarp.
Yeah.
I like tarps.
I think he should leave the stump. No.
Leave the stump. Can't take the stump.
Okay. Okay. I'll call for the question if there's no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. Consideration of application from Brian Whitney for a conditional use permit for use of a trailer during construction at 202 South Frederick Drive. We have a motion?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
He included a sunset of 2 years in it. Sounds reasonable to me.
Joe?
Yes, sir.
Since you're the person that has to enforce all this stuff, is a 2-year sunset reasonable?
I would like to see a sunset, yes, and no
Okay.
longer than that. And I've been talking to Mr. Whitney, and I just stated a concern of the neighbors, and mine is too, is there's no septic system set up there at the moment. What do we do with sewage? Kind of try explaining that to me, and I just don't know how we're gonna deal with that. Yeah. Explain to the commission here.
Joe, can you speak up a little bit? I'm having a hard time hearing you. You're
I
cutting
was
in and
just,
out.
yeah, you got that, Chris? Is that better?
Yeah, I can get you now.
Oh, you can. Yeah, well, I was just asking, is that this is out of service area 1, well, it's in service area 1, but outside of the sewer system, so there's nowhere to plug in, like if it was a trailer on a lot in town. I just was asking Mr. Whitney what his plan was for disposal of his brown, and black, and gray water. Gray, black, brown, whatever. So, you got that, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to do what's, appropriate, typically holding tank and every so often you take it to town and dispose of it in a RV dump, something like that.
So you have the...
Yeah, my systems also, I can separate my gray water. My toilet can go into a separate thing, and I can haul it as it, gets full, take it to town. So, I can do that.
What are you hauling it in?
I have the 250 gallon vats is what I have now for both my drinking. I collect it on a rain, and then my sewer, I just haul it and dump it.
Joe, you look perplexed.
No, I
sorry.
just wanted to explain, he did kind of told me that.
It's just temporary. Everything I got's on wheels. It's hard to, imagine that I live in a Connex, but I don't have a $40,000 RV. I just made my Connex pretty much the same. When I was in Frogs, I had the same thing, and RV, and when I was in Hoona, the same thing. So it's all temporary, and just I can haul my sewage.
Okay, well, I just wanted the commission to be aware.
Okay. My only concern is how long we allow this permit to, how long he can have his container on the property. I mean, my understanding is that once he's built a house, he can keep the container there, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
Commissioner.
So my next question is a logical question. So what we have to do is, in this permit, we'd have to state that there must be a structure constructed in 2 years, or the container goes away in 2 years, or exactly how would we word this? It's a chicken and egg thing, right?
Well, yeah, I would say if you're going to put a 2-year deal on it, if in 2 years that structure is not of nature to receive a certificate of occupancy, which means it's livable, safe, that this conditional use permit goes away.
Okay.
I mean, that would be, if you're going to put a time frame on it, right?
I would just say it goes away in 2 years.
Okay.
Because at that point, if the house is in place, then if the container is still there, then it actually becomes.
It's legal according to the current ordinances. That's my understanding. Okay.
So if there is no certificate of occupancy in 2 years, then the trailer is in violation of code, and Mr. Whitney could come in and request
An extension. Okay. So you understand the...
Yeah, no, that seems perfectly reasonable.
Okay. And we're going to date this, if you guys are no issues, what sort of, we want to do a 2-year time frame from when to when?
Well,
starting now?
Or when the trailer actually appeared on the lot, like a month ago?
Okay.
No, you could start it today. I'm just saying that was, we've
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So
1st of July would be a good time to start the 2 years.
So the 1st of July?
Yes. That
Okay.
seemed reasonable to you?
Yeah, sounds great, guys.
And then do we want to put any other conditions that it not be any of the neighbors concerned about it becoming a commercial site?
I don't think we're authorized anything commercial in this, so I don't.
Right.
That would be a separate code violation.
Right, okay, so it's something we would address here.
I guess also I would say that if in the 2 years there is no house with a certificate of occupancy, at that point the containers are in violation. You're not allowed just to store open storage on a single-family lot without a house either. So basically everything that's on there would be in violation, not just the container.
Okay.
Just so everyone's aware.
And I'm totally good with that.
Question?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chris?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Okay, thank you. Okay, new business. Acceptance and scheduling of a public hearing for an application from Bill Nish for a conditional use permit to allow a two-family dwelling in an industrial district at 710 South Nordic. So all we're doing right now is just accepting this application and scheduling a public hearing. That's all. Do we need a motion?
I move we accept this for the next meeting.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. Okay, acceptance and scheduling a public hearing for an application from Raymond and Berthiel Evans for a minor subdivision at 405 Sandy Beach Road.
I move we accept.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then preliminary review of recommendations of application to purchase borough property. Didn't we just do this?
Did the hearing on it.
Okay,
But you don't have to schedule and accept a schedule on this one?
right, we can just vote on this, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, so you guys understand, we're not scheduling anything, we're just going to vote on it right now.
And we vote on it, and then it goes to the city council?
Yeah, that's correct. They get the final call.
I move we sell them the requested lots.
Okay,
A second?
okay. Discussion, just one question, goes up for public bid, doesn't it? Or can we specify in our recommendation that it be sold to them?
You can specify that. Generally, the assembly puts lots up for public auction, but it's,
This is kind of a special case, I think.
Yeah, they already got buildings on it. So I would personally like to put in a recommendation that it be sold at least for a price to Suzanne Paulson and James Jensen.
So we waive public.
So we waive public option. Of course, assembly can change that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that I can go build a shed in the neighbor's lot right away.
I was like, I'm going to go build a shed on my adjoining lot.
The city wants it, and they don't want it.
I know, we don't want to set precedent here, but.
That's true. Yeah, Joe, I'm sorry. Okay. Is that acceptable? Is that what you guys want to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to approve.
Any more discussion? Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you. Okay, acceptance and scheduling of a public hearing for an application from the Petersburg Borough to vacate a portion of a public easement at 919 Sandy Beach. I have not had a chance to even look at that one.
This is scheduling a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
This is just accepting to bring it up next time, right?
Right, yeah, that's all we're talking about right now. Do I have a second?
I second.
Oh, yeah, who moved? I move.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? Any questions that we want to have Joe discover for us between now and then? Okay, call for the question if there's no question. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Chris? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, the next one is initiation of a rezone from public use to single-family residential at Sandy Beach. So I'm assuming this is all the same. Joe, since it's a rezoning, or Liz, could one of you guys illuminate us? Liz?
It's all the same one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my confusion.
It's the same lot. The Assembly just passed a resolution at today's meeting authorizing sale of this property.
Okay.
So the borough is reducing the public easement on it to create more developable space on the lot. And then also it's currently zoned as public use. And even though single-family residential is in the permissible use on public use, felt it was, if we're going to go through the public process anyway, we might as well zone it what the intent is, which is single-family residential.
Okay.
Before it's sold.
And what page is this in the packet? I'm lost.
Well, it seems like we have different numbering, but it's actually not in here as a separate item.
Okay, yeah, I haven't found it at all.
Yeah, it's just,
I didn't see it online either.
because
so.
it's something that the Planning Commission is going to initiate on its own. That's the request. It's not an application from anyone. The commission has the authority to initiate rezones. We could leave it public use, but I generally think it's a good idea to zone things as they're going to be and not put private property in public use.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the table, or on the floor, excuse me, for rezoning 919 Sandy Beach Road. And so that would be at the next meeting, we'd have a public hearing.
Yes.
Correct? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, the next one is acceptance and scheduling a public hearing for an application from Patrick Fowler for a home occupation at 707 Rambler.
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Chris? Okay, motion passes.
You
We might have
needed
lost
four.
Chris.
You needed 4 votes. Did you have 4?
I was
Yeah.
aye.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't hear him. Yeah, we had 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I said aye too, sorry.
Okay. Just wasn't-
Okay. Okay, the next is a discussion item, rescheduling future planning commissions to the 3rd Monday of the month. Staff, what's the reasoning? Yes.
That would,
Because of Karen.
it's because of me.
Oh, yes, and state your name, please.
Yes, my name is Karen Malcolm, and I take the minutes for this meeting. And the reasoning behind this is that this room is not ours. it's open to PIA and different scheduling. So each time we have an assembly meeting or the zoning meeting that requires it being recorded, we have to put all this equipment up and then take it down again. So by having this meeting coincide with the assembly meetings, we only have to put it up once and take it down once.
So your idea would be to have it like at 3 o'clock after the assembly meeting?
We could have it before or after, depending upon that. Our meetings seem to be longer and longer all the time, bigger and bigger. But if we want to do it like at 8 or 9 in the morning, we could do that.
Yeah, I can't do that, but I could do it in the afternoon.
Whatever works for, I'm here at the pleasure of the commission. So, but if we could, because of the equipment, and it takes about 45 minutes to set it up each time, I would have to come in here and do it my own, each time. And since we only meet once a month and they meet twice, we'd have to do it the second one because of the...
We're talking the third Monday at 3 in the afternoon, or?
That would be great.
Okay. It's fine with me. I just want to know in advance. I get it in my schedule so I can make sure I'm there as often as possible. So
Normally that will work for me, except for in July.
Carol?
I have no objection.
Okay. Yeah, Molly, I'd have to look at a tight schedule really quick, but
Right.
the afternoon would be better. This is a temporary thing, right?
Right, as long as
Okay.
we're here.
Okay.
Well, that's a year from now.
Yeah, well, we can just have it, we can just try and, so you want to do the next one, July 18th? Is that correct?
It's unlikely I'm going to be able to attend that meeting.
Okay. What about the 11th?
all in for July 18th, but I'll be out of town.
So, by the 11th.
Okay. Okay.
We got 2 already missing.
On the 18th?
I could make...
On Mondays, I'm either flying into town, but I can make an afternoon meeting.
Well, is there going to be... Well, I don't like the idea of pushing it back to August, but I could make the 1st of August. That'll be a Borough Assembly meeting.
So, okay, we can't do it before the 18th. So who all, okay, maybe, yeah, we need another Glenn.
Yeah, before he gets out of the room.
What are you doing on the 18th?
You're still here, Glenn.
Yeah, you're still here, come on.
He misses this.
That's why I was laughing at the majority, because I knew the answer.
I think we make a motion that we nominate Glenn.
If it doesn't work for July, then, I'll just come in here and set it up. Ideally, if we could do it the second Monday, it doesn't have to be, I don't know. If we don't have a quorum, then we have to do something that works.
The
second Monday in July, I'm in town until 2 p.m.
Third Monday.
Third Monday, Chris.
Spoke.
Third Monday, I'm out of town. So I can call in.
I'll be on a ferry that day coming out of Haynes, so unlikely I'm going to have cell phone service either.
Right. Yeah, you're optimistic. No, sorry.
I know. Assuming it comes.
Right. Okay.
We don't know about Yancey, right?
I get into town early in the morning on the 20th, so.
On the 20th?
So I could make a meeting on the 20th.
Yeah, I can't.
Doesn't really help the situation.
Yeah, I know.
What about on the 25th?
I could make that.
Russ, are you around on the 25th?
On the 25th of July, no, I'm out of town, but I can call in. I'm out of town from the 11th of July until, I don't know the exact date, I think until like the 20-something of August.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, yeah, good to know. So, but you can call in.
I can call in.
But does calling in, does that count for our quorum? So we have to have 4 people.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to tentatively plan it for the 25th and we'll get a hold of Yancey and see what his schedule is.
Yeah.
He's probably gone then, too, isn't he?
Had a personal issue today, so
Yeah.
he would have been here, but had to take care of that at the last minute. So he's in town right now. I can get hold of him.
Okay. So why don't we tentatively plan on 3 o'clock, the 25th, a Monday of July?
And then after that, we're going to aim for the third Monday.
Because see, I still need to.
Because it doesn't really help.
Especially.
Yeah, it doesn't really help the 25th, but, you know, Karen's stepping up to the
One
plate
more
and
week
saying she can
later.
handle it in July.
Maybe
But
we can come in 10 minutes early and help you.
Or if we were to wait one more week, then it's August 1st, there's a
No,
borough
I,
assembly.
I don't want to
No.
make the public wait.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
So it doesn't make any difference.
time doesn't make any difference at all.
So
if I
what,
do it on the
what you're
25th.
trying to do is you're trying to piggyback us with the
So
council
that
meetings.
this all can be set up
Yeah,
at
right.
one time.
Yeah, one time.
But if you're not available on the 20th,
Okay,
or the 18th, excuse me, it doesn't really work.
okay. And so the 25th isn't, and so the next assembly meeting is the 1st.
Assembly meeting is the 5th, I believe, because of the 4th hitting on a Monday, or the 18th of July.
Oh, I was talking about in August.
That is the 8th or the 22nd of August.
Okay.
Pushing it.
That's a long way. And if we do the 25th, we don't have to do 3 o'clock. You know, we can do whatever time we want.
Yeah, but if, I'm going to fly in that day.
Oh.
In July, yeah, I fly in from Sitka that day.
Morning jet.
On the morning jet, yes. So I can do it any time afternoon. Going to do it at 2? Or would you rather even just do it at 1 o'clock?
At 1 o'clock?
Yeah, you want to shoot for that?
That's fine.
Okay, so,
I'll just come from the airport.
Carol, can you do that?
I could probably, all of this is probably going to be telephonically for me. I'm sure I will be out of town.
so unless Yancey can make it, then that you don't have
If you
it.
could do it on the 18th, then
What is, you'll be here?
with Yancey.
I don't
have a
know.
quorum.
In July, I think I'll be here. Come August, that's another iffy.
Well, why don't we get a hold of Yancey and see if he can make it on the 18th? No, it doesn't get us anything, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 25th.
The 25th, right? On the Yancey
Okay.
on the 25th would get us.
Yeah.
If Harold or Otis could make it, because otherwise we still only have.
Essentially, we all got to make it because Chris is out of town.
Well, you have one you could lose, because if Yancey came in, then one of you could
Yeah,
not
one
be
of you
here.
guys could be missing,
But only one,
but only one, because we have to be here in the flush.
yes.
Glenn.
So what are we talking about now?
There's a motion on the table to nominate Glenn Reed Jr. to be on the planning commission for.
Well, all it is until the October.
Yeah, just till the October meeting.
Did we already give him his variance?
That was poor planning. Boy.
That was.
Yeah.
Could we request that the mayor nominate him to fill a vacancy until the fall? And then you don't have to be on it after October if you don't run. Can he be on?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
can't.
shucks. Okay.
So you already have your excuse. You're good.
Well played, Glenn, well played.
Yeah, well played. Okay, so we'll shoot for the 25th? Okay.
I just texted, Eric Yancey.
Okay.
I will text Yancey and see if he's available.
Okay. Okay, so keep us posted, and
And then check your schedules for the third
the third,
Monday, right?
the third Monday
Moving
in,
forward,
in August, right?
August, September, October.
The third Monday in September.
I mean, not right now, but in general.
Just try to keep
Well,
it clear.
Yeah.
I know I can tell you I'm just going to say Southeast Conference starts, so,
Oh, yeah.
and I get in on the ferry that day, so, holy moly.
Taking a real gamble.
Yeah, but I could probably do it.
Oh.
No, in September.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you,
Through July.
so then we're looking at the, either the 15th or 22nd in August, right?
I would have thought it would be the 15th. It's not the 15th?
Yeah.
The-
It'll be the 15th.
Because the 22nd, I'll be back in town. But
Oh, okay,
I'll be
She's got to set up the.
Canada.
yeah.
August.
It's either the 8th or the 22nd.
You're looking at the 2nd and the 4th Mondays.
First is a Monday.
The first is a Monday.
The 8th.
It's the second
It's the
Monday.
first Monday. First and third.
Yeah, so it'll be
You're not
the
supposed to say
15th.
first or the 15th. Sorry.
That's okay. 15th.
The 15th, I won't be able to call in because I'll be driving through Canada. But the 1st, I could call in. And the 22nd, I'd be in town.
You got a meeting on the 25th, you're not going to have another meeting on the 1st.
Right.
Right. Okay, well, let's try for the 25th, and then we'll see what happens, okay? Do I have a motion? Do you have anything else?
I had something I wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I believe that a year ago, we told Russ and Kissinger that we'd be checking on the sawmill.
Yes.
I thought we were going to give him till like September.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I saw him today, and I thought, gee, we're going to come out and look at it. I did notice that Russ doesn't seem to be as friendly to me as he used to be. So maybe it's not going good. I don't know.
Now, I haven't talked to Everett, so I don't know what's going on up there.
Well, Kupernoff had a thing that he sawed their lumber for their building over there.
Actually, I cut the wood for the building over there.
No. Good.
So what would you like us to do? Just go out and take a look?
I just wanted to talk about it. Yeah, just something, whether we go out on our own or whether we go as a group or, we told them we'd do it. I thought maybe we ought to.
I think Chris is right that the commission had said a year and then you tacked on the summer.
Right.
And so I was expecting to put it on the September agenda.
Okay.
That's good.
If that works for you guys?
Good for me.
Okay.
And then
Except
maybe I
it's
should
moose hunting.
explain my reason for abstaining on home occupied businesses. I don't like the way the ordinance is. I don't have a problem with home occupied businesses. I just don't think that Joe should be enforcing the rules and regulations. I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with somebody doing a framing shop or doing X, Y, Z, but I just don't think the borough should be in the position of granting variances in residential places for commercial activities. And I don't think that those variances should stay with the property. I think if we were going to do it, I'd like to see the assembly, like maybe do, like if you get one of these variances, it's good for a year, then it automatically comes back for a review. If there's any issues from the existing neighbors, then we can talk about it again then. But I'd like to see it more as a way for helping people maybe start a business without having to go out and investing a bunch of money in commercial property. But the way looking at the ordinance now, there's no reason why a doctor couldn't have an office. There's no reason why a dentist couldn't have an office. There's no reason why I couldn't have a beauty parlor. I mean, no reason why a lawyer couldn't have it, a CPA. I mean, basically all the things that we normally consider to be commercial activities. There's no reason under the current ordinance where we have any ability to say, no, we don't think this is a good idea. So I guess what I'd like to see the assembly do is to address that ordinance, make it so that it's easier for us to deal with, and so that we don't have to put Joe in the job of being a policeman because he doesn't have the staff or the resources to do it. And I haven't checked around all the communities in Southeast, but it's a rather unusual thing. And some towns, the way they've interpreted in Sitka is, like if you're doing Amway and you're having an Amway party or something like that. But they don't let you do, like, you can't have a beauty parlor, you can't have a lawyer's office, you can't have a CPA's office, you can't have a doctor's office, you can't have any of those things in a residential area. You have to have that in someplace that's zoned commercial. Or the other thing to do is just say all residential is C1 and be done with it. But, yes, it's just a thought.
Back in the 80s, when I was on this thing, we started talking about a zoning ordinance, and Jack Longworth was on there, and he was strongly opposed to having zoning, and he always pointed out Dallas, Texas as a great example of a place with no zoning, and it was a prosperous city. But we never had zoning, and there was all kinds of have always been little businesses scattered around the town. Mm-hmm. And now what happened when we got zoning, a bunch of people that had a little bit of foresight said, well, I want my land zoned industrial, or made sure they were zoned commercial, and now all of a sudden there's a shortage of industrial and commercial land, and so some poor slob that's trying to start a business is either going to have to pay high rent or whatever. So anyway, that's where where it all comes from. The more rules you make, and I know some of the villages have no zoning, and some guy's got a little video rental place in his house, and someone else is making pizza over here, and seems to work. So
that's the other approach. Just say there's, As
long as the neighbors don't complain, go do it.
Well, that's basically my feeling too. But you have one immediate neighbor complain about something. To me, that'd be the basis for denying a permit. If the next door neighbor doesn't like what somebody's doing, then I wouldn't approve it. I mean, just because I guess I figure if you're going to do something commercial in a residential area, you should do it at the sufferance of your neighbors, and if they're okay with it, I'd be okay with it. That's why I think you should have a one-year review, because if they're starting to, there's no mechanism. Joe can't be out there counting cars, right? So the only thing that he's going to get is just feedback from people saying, hey, this isn't working, but we don't have any mechanism really to enforce it or anything, So I'm not opposed to existing ordinance. I'm not opposed to people having home-occupied businesses. I just think the ordinance needs to be changed and addressed so that it's dealing with, smaller type businesses. I mean, I wouldn't want a dentist to open up an office, next door to me. I wouldn't want a beautician to be cutting hair in her house next to me. I mean, I guess that's just, that's my personal feeling. So.
Question for Joe is, do you get a lot of citizen complaints about any of these things?
No, not really. I think we'd investigate them if there was, Usually the permits that you do grant, people abide by them fairly well, I think. I say, your neighbors, they're the ones that are going to complain, but sometimes you'll get, what was her name, Alice Kravitz? Mrs. Kravitz? Mrs. Kravitz, she'll complain about everything. But, so I don't know. It hasn't been a problem yet. We've had a couple, obviously, and those shine to the top, and they resolved them. But I think a review process, would be in order, but it has to be enforceable.
So what would you suggest, like a year, once a variance is granted, every year or every 2 years?
I think 2 years is enough unless a complaint arises that would bring it to an immediate investigation, you know.
I was going to say, you have the authority to put that in, you just did. You know, the ordinance, while not perfect in any way, is broad enough that gives you the authority to put conditions on, and you can certainly put that as a standing condition, that whenever you do home occupation, it comes up for review in a year or two.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I just have a hard time granting these variances without actually seeing how they're actually going to work in, you know. I mean, that's my main concern. I mean, I feel uncomfortable letting somebody do what's fundamentally a commercial activity when their neighbor's objecting to it, but if there's no basis of fact or they don't have any track record or blah, 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 I'd just like to go back in a year and say, is this working for everybody? It's basically all I'm looking for. And I guess we can do that ourselves.
You can do that yourself, yeah.
That's why they call it a conditional use permit, Dave.
You get to set the conditions.
You can put conditions on it? Okay.
And
okay,
then,
I'll
like
live
with
with that.
Mr. Hom, you know, true enough, if for some reason, you know, we start getting 2-3 complaints from different neighbors saying he's having X amount of cars coming there, I mean, I think we've got a problem, then we can look at it, you know, sooner, but without hearing anything, we can go talk to the neighbors and talk to...
Is there any way we can streamline this where so we don't have to go through the full process?
We're looking at that, actually, of streamlining a few of our processes.
I like the idea of it always sunsetting, or if the person sells the property.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that we...
putting that
I think as far as reviewing goes, I think it's better to look at it with each individual application to decide whether that needs to have a 1-year review, whether that needs to have a 2-year review, or that needs to have, you know, we give them a longer period, just based on what the type of business is and everything else. Otherwise, I think we're going to bury the planning commission in reviewing conditional use permits. So.
Well, that's why I was wondering if we could have some sort of procedure where where a public notice would go out and say, are there any complaints, any comments? And if there's not any, then it's automatically, extended. I don't know if that's possible.
Right now, we would not, if someone was, like the review that you just put on that conditional use permit, we would not normally send out public notice to let people know that that's going to be under review, because the public notice requirement is when you're about to take action. So, and generally the applicant pays for that public notice to go out. We don't, the borough doesn't pay for that notice to go out.
If we just got the addresses of the next door neighbors, sent them on a letter, and
that's what I'm saying. As a matter of course, we unless you put that in as what you wanted us to do, we don't do that now. So you'd have to tell us, like, okay, every time we review a conditional use permit, so every time we gave one out, if you wanted to review and have us send out a public notice, then that's a whole nother thing for us to do as part of our public notice procedure, because we don't. So we don't do that.
So I understand what you're saying. Okay. Enough for today. We can think about this.
We can think about that, yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion for adjournment, unless anybody has anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Hey, all right, we're done.
I almost got away with it.
I like it.